Hello again, watch friends. Welcome back. In the 1980s and 1990s, I wrote for several national computer magazines. I had several monthly columns, wrote hardware and software reviews, and did feature articles on a variety of topics. Early in my writing gig, I noticed that rarely did the magazine review a lousy product. Sure, there were often reviews of software that mentioned aspects that could have been done differently or better, but never a review of a poor product. So I asked one of my editors why this was true. His response was interesting. It wasn't because we were viewing everything through rose-tinted spectacles, he assured me. Basically, it was because there were so many good products available. Remember, this was the early days of the quote-unquote home computer, and there was no need to highlight a poor one, either a poor piece of hardware or a poor piece of software. Back then, with home computers, Apple, Atari, Commodore, Radio Shack, TI, and many others were vying for attention. People weren't sure why they needed or even wanted a computer. And there was plenty of software initially from the computer companies, but later even more so from independent firms. The magazines could get any product they wanted to review, and usually companies would just send products to the editorial offices hoping for a review. Back then, advertising usually had no influence on whether a product was or wasn't reviewed. There was just so much of it, we couldn't review it all, even if we wanted to. So, in a similar vein, I want to explain why I don't review second-rate watches on my YouTube channel. First, everything I review, I own. With the exception of one watch, which I borrowed from a friend to do a comparison review early on, all the watches I've reviewed on my channel, I do or have owned. By definition, then, if I own a watch, I think it's at least pretty good, if not excellent. I don't own any crappy watches. More on that later. Using a syllogism, if A equals B and B equals C, then A has to equal C. So, if I only buy good watches, and I only review my own watches, then every watch I review is good. Second, I have limited time. I do this watch thing, the YouTube channel, reviews, etc., as a hobby. I earn no income from my YouTube channel, and it takes anywhere from a couple hours to do a review up to 6 to 8 hours, when I include the research, photography, videography, editing, and quality control. I just don't turn on my iPhone, fondle a watch in front of it, and say, "Isn't this neat?" like some vloggers do. I try to provide a quality video with not just the facts, but some info about the brand, why the brand or the particular watch is significant, how it might compare with the competition, and perhaps most importantly, why the watch is relevant to me and why I own it. Anyway, I just don't have the spare time to talk about a less than stellar watch. I do have a day job, after all. Lastly, I know it's more fun to write about an excellent watch. I do it, after all. And I also think it's more fun to watch a review of a good, useful, or outstanding product. I know that's how I feel when I watch other watch reviews or read them. Which would you rather learn about? A crummy watch that you would never want to own or put on your wrist? Or something that maybe you'd be interested in, or at least want to learn about? I think the answer is obvious. It's not only more fun to watch a video of a good, better, or best watch, it's also more fun for me to review it. I think the elephant in the room when discussing good versus inferior watches is the matter of design. I believe we all, as human beings, are attracted to pleasing designs of anything, really. Are all the parts harmonious? That is, do they fit together, or somehow are they disjointed or incoherent? Is the shape agreeable? Is the thing pretty, or may even be beautiful? The above characteristics are the basics. On top of that, we have our own tastes and preferences. Some of us might like a date complication. Other watch enthusiasts may argue that a date window, regardless of its position on the dial, ruins the overall aesthetic of the watch, and therefore they shun that type of design. Lugs are another design feature that prompt discussion, if not debates. While not as polarizing as a date window perhaps, the different shapes and sizes of lugs can influence one's overall feeling about the watch. And of course, lug design has a practical aspect. The size and shape can dictate whether the watch will fit on your particular wrist. So the bottom line on design is that, to a large extent, it impacts whether you like or dislike a watch, or whether you think the watch is inferior. Just be aware that any particular high-end watch, say, with an extraordinary dial and highly finished movement, may still not float your boat. Finally, there is one category of watches that some people may call crummy. You know what I'm talking about: fashion watches. The reason there is so much animus towards this group is that they are overpriced, often poorly or cheaply made, have cheap quartz movements or really low-quality mechanical movements, and are sold to people who, unfortunately, don't know any better. So maybe the crummy label is appropriate for these watches, even if there are some nice designs. I'm interested in fashion watches only as a phenomenon, but would never own one. Most watch enthusiasts I know feel the same way. What do you think? Do you own any crappy watches? Or did you? Share your comments below. I'm Art Lamberger, and this is my channel. If you'd like to be notified of future videos, please hit the subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.